On this episode, Ben covers a new soybean emergence study with our biostimulant Tripidity ST. See what's been discovered so far. Tommy gives a planting progress update, and Turk talks about crops that experience frost. We've launched our new website. Go to mershmanseeds.com to check it out.
Hi, this is Joe Mershman. Welcome to Cup of Joe, episode number 42, season number 2. Today we have our regulars. We have Tommy, we have Turk, and Ben. We're going to start off with Ben first because he's been out in the field and looking at these beans coming up. And what are you seeing with Tripidity this year?
As we've announced on Cup of Joe before, we have our Tripidity flag tests. And I have 2 preliminary results that are coming in. I think we're going to have a lot more coming next week. But we are seeing significant differences on day number 1 and day number 2, where we're seeing numbers like 72 versus 42. 72 beans came up on the first day versus 42 without Tripidity. So we're seeing positive results in central Illinois and in southern Wisconsin. We are also seeing similar results on day number 1, where we have 48 beans emerge that are treated with Tripidity ST versus 28 that are standard. So okay. I'm hoping if everything keeps falling into line right, which like we think it's going to, we're seeing very positive things coming out of the Tripidity ST seed treatment that we use, doing everything that we've talked about it doing.
Well, let's back up just a little bit in case some of the viewers aren't familiar with what Tripidity ST is. That's one of the components in Bonus Coated Plus. Bonus Coated Plus, the Mershman Seeds concoction of fungicides is 4 fungicides. We also have an insecticide. We have a polymer colorant, and then we also have a seed flow agent, titanium dioxide. The other thing is the biostimulant, Tripidity ST, and that's what Ben's talking about. Biostimulants are relatively new to seed treating. In other words, not every company's doing that because, well, first of all, they're pretty expensive, but we think they're well worth it because those numbers you just shown, that in other words, the faster, the more uniform emergence you get, that will translate into yield at the end of the year, right, Ben?
Yep. So what they do is what Kevin and Amy have shown us from Rosen's is that they'll mark these flags on the ones that emerge first, and the ones that have emerged the most uniform, they'll pull those plants in the fall, and those plants will have more pods, and they'll have more seeds per pod versus the ones that are the little bit later stragglers that come up. So if we can get the entire population out of the ground as fast as possible and as even as possible, it's supposed to help with yield at the end of the year.
So this flag test, what they're doing is they're measuring off, 17 and a half feet, basically in 30-inch rows, which is a thousandth of an acre, and then doing as soon as they see a bean show its face, they're counting it as emerged.
Yep, that's absolutely correct.
And then every day, every 24 hours, they come back and see. They do it up for 3 days, correct?
Yep. So we're seeing positive things starting to come out of it.
Hey, Ben and Joe, I got a question. So what's the difference between our BioStack versus other companies that have maybe a biological or biostimulant in their seed treatment? What are we seeing with the differences of ours?
Well, let me take the biological question first. A biostimulant and biological are 2 different things. A biological is actually a living organism. And there are many products out there right now that are biologicals. In other words, they're living organisms. They have to colonize on the roots, create some favorable benefit to the plant. The problem with biologicals is that they are so much influenced by environment. In other words, if the environment isn't perfect, they may not colonize, they may not reproduce, and also they have a shelf life on the seed. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Ben and tell what a biostimulant is. In our case, what is a biostimulant?
The biostimulant is made up of, and I would argue that the biological and the biostimulant are going after similar things. They're going after the same end result of getting hormones, extracts, and nutrients back into that plant to help it grow. But the difference being is what you're talking about is that shelf life. This is actually hard chemistry. This has, nutritional value. It's got boron, zinc, phosphate. It's got hormones. It's got gibberellic acid, cytokinins, and then it's also got the third component, which is like the glucose and the amino acids. So we actually have hard chemistry. There's a lot of different ingredients within those 3 subcategories, but we actually have hard chemistry that's going to be on that seed evenly every time. We don't have to rely on Mother Nature and these living organisms to do the same things that we're doing. We're taking a step ahead because it's actually hard chemistry.
Yeah, and the whole idea behind this is not to feed the plant, but to feed the seed and to mitigate stress. And with the cool temperatures that we've had this spring, and some of the other factors that have slowed germination, the seed becomes under stress, and what this does is basically give it what it needs, what it would normally either have to produce internally or get from the environment. It's already right on the seed and can just keep pushing that seed forward at full speed, doesn't have to slow down.
I'm excited. I'm really excited. We have a handful of these things out there, and once we get all this data in and all these pictures, you'll see it on our social media pages, and we're going to show the real value because we're going to follow this thing through all the way to fall.
So when a farmer makes a seed decision, and we talk about it all the time, when the competitor says, "Oh yeah, it's treated," or "Yeah, it's got what's on it? Oh, the kitchen sink, it's got everything," And the reality of it is, unless they can specifically tell you exactly what you're getting, you may not be getting anything at all. You may be getting a single fungicide, you may be getting a insecticide, and that's it. And that is nothing compared to Bonus Coat Plus with Pearl Coat Plus and Tripidity ST. In other words, we are literally giving you everything known to man that can help that seed get out of the ground. And we've always said the first step to higher yields is a perfect stand. And that's what we're trying to do. And also the other thing, from my perspective, is we hate replant. And if there's anything we can put on our seed to help a farmer prevent replant, we're going to do it.
It sounds like the biostimulant portion of it's a lot more, an easier bet, so to speak, compared to the biological.
I think it's a safer bet, yes. Turk, frost. We survived a frost. Let's talk about that just for a little bit.
Yep, Joe, last week we were talking about the frost and the need to give it 3 or 4 days, 5 days, and see what kind of regrowth we had. And we did survive the frost. Unfortunately, those 3 to 5 days were on the cool side, and so many fields were very slow to get new growth coming. But the warm weather we've had here at the end of this week helped that new growth come out, and I'm glad to report that we've had very, very few fields that need to be replanted. Most everybody survived very well on both corn and the soybeans, and we've had very, very few replants. There has been a few, but very few. So that's all good news.
Ben, you've been out on some of these frosted fields, and you got that initial growing point, and if it gets nipped, what happens to that soybean plant?
So basically what happens is your first set of true leaves is where a lot of these beans were in the stage. We weren't at quite to V1 yet, so we were at VC for a lot of them. When you freeze that apical meristem, which is the main growing point for the soybean, it'll actually initiate its auxiliary buds, which come out of the cotyledonary node. So I'll actually post a picture and you guys will be able to see it, but there's 2 little shoots coming right out on either side of the cotyledon, and right now they're probably a 1/4 inch long, and that plant has already set itself up. 48 hours after the frost, we were already seeing this new growth, and with the sunshine that we've had, I mean, the plants look phenomenal. I think we dodged a huge bullet with the temperatures. I mean, it only had to be a degree or 2 colder or a little bit higher dew point, and we could have had a big disaster, but we definitely dodged a bullet, and the beans are looking really, really good.
Good. Well, Tommy, you've been tracking what's going on as far as progress of planning, being in the sales business like you are. Obviously, you want to make sure that we get rid of our inventory and also that we have inventory in the right place if we need more. So tell us a little bit about planning.
Yeah, Joe, looks like Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana, and as far as corn and soybeans, are still above average of planting progress where they were a year ago. Iowa is kind of the leader at that with 91 or more % done with corn and even 75% more done with soybeans. So things are wrapping up pretty quickly here. I think the weather's has cooperated very well, other than a few little hiccups here and there. Missouri's still a little behind, but they're going to catch right up. So what we've really been concentrating on as territories is getting treated seed moved around that may be extra, or getting deliveries situated to where we can get guys taken care of in a quick fashion. I know it's been a trying year with it being an early spring. And again, applauded off to our shipping and production teams in Olmsted and West Point for a job well done, because it would have been impossible without them. So we have done very well with shuffling everything around and getting everything right. And I think, Joe, you'll be happy that I think replants and even returns are going to be at a very, very, very minimum this year.
Knock on wood, Tommy. This farming business, until the crop's in the bin, I mean, anything can go wrong. We had one customer down in southwest Missouri. Right before he planted, he had one of those tornadoes, and so I know you just never know with Mother Nature. And mixed farmers, I have tremendous respect for the challenges that they're up against. But yep, I think we're off to a good start, way better than last year. Let's hope it keeps going.
Absolutely.
Anything else, Turk or Tommy, that you'd like to add?
We had a nice rain come in this week. Iowa was needing rain. They were reporting that some parts of Iowa were as much as 4 inches below normal heading into this last couple rains we've had. So that's good news that most of the state has got some rain that helped these newly planted corn and soybeans get off to a really great start and activate chemicals.
Yeah, locally we had right around 2 inches to maybe 2 1/4, so 2 1/2 right in there. So pretty general rain. I know Thursday night the thunder blew me right out of bed. I mean, I had the windows open. It was nice, and I was surprised. Let me put it that way. I would like to add this week we opened up our brand new website, and a lot of work has been done on that by our marketing team. To get that ready, and you should check it out at www.immersementseeds.com and check out the new look and the information, trying to keep it as robust and information orientated as possible. So check out the new Immersement Seeds website. And today I'd like to conclude this broadcast with a joke that Richard Ferguson, he's one of our former area sales manager for Central Iowa, heck of a guy, that he told me this joke back in the day, and as you drive down the road, it's inevitable that you're going to run across an animal that got ran over, possum or coon or something. And, nature has ways to mitigate that, and one of the animals that they have that kind of clean that up is the crow. And as you're driving down the road, I know you've seen these crows out there picking the carcasses of these dead animals, and yet they seem to always get out of the way before you get there. And I don't know if you know that or not, but the crow is a very smart bird. And when he goes and lands to pick on that carcass, and these cars are going by, at full speed, he always has one of his buddies up on a highline pole, and he's watching. I don't know if you knew that, but you look closely, you'll see that bird up there, another crow, one of his buddies watching. And what happens is when there's a car coming down while he's picking on that carcass, the other one will yell, "Car, car, car, car." Tells the other guy to get out of the way.
That's why we don't see any dead crows, huh?
That's why you never see a dead crow out in the middle of the road. It's fact, believe me. Hope that'll get you to next week. But anyhow, that one there, I think your grandkids and your children would really enjoy that one. So we'll see you next week. Please be safe, stay healthy, and thanks for planting Immersement Seeds. Take care.